Ladies and gentlemen, welcome to the channel. This next series of videos is going to be a little different. By the time you see this, I will be 50 years old. And to celebrate this, I've come to Singapore, land of crazy rich Asians and absolutely amazing food. I've been here twice before in the Navy, and I had a really amazing time with each visit, but I was under a certain measure of constraint because the Navy is concerned with discipline and good order. So we had a curfew. We had to adhere to a buddy system. So I never ended up buddied up with someone who wanted to do the stuff that I wanted to do. And there were places that were forbidden to go, and not the kind of places that you'd think would be off limits. Plus a duty schedule that meant you really only got one full day to enjoy the liberty per 3 or 4 day port visit. Also, it's been, well, now just north of 20 years since I've been here, and Singapore has grown and developed a lot in that time. So there are a lot more things to see and do and eat than ever before. Should be a good time, and based on my research, I'll probably be able to actually try about a quarter of the things I identified as things I have to try. So I expect I'll be back. But first, I needed a base of operations for this assault on the Singapore food scene. As I've mentioned multiple times in the past few years, I'm balling on a budget. My standard procedure for planning travel is to look for the cheapest hotels available in my chosen travel reservation app, and then weed out the unacceptable ones until I arrive at a compromise I'm willing to make. Now, when I'm planning a trip for the two of us, for Chris and myself, the standards go up a good bit because I want her to be happy, I want her to be comfortable. I'm willing to deal with a certain amount of discomfort, or not so much discomfort, but just lack of amenities. I'm willing to make compromises. Almost always, it means I scroll past all the youth hostels, and in this case, it also means pod or capsule hotels. Those are big here in a lot of Southeast Asia these days. They're basically hostels with more neon and about 5% more privacy because you actually get a curtain, but instead of like open, bunk beds and things. So I got a small, very small, private hotel room with ensuite bathroom at the lowest price and said, good enough. My hotel room is where I recharge all my batteries, including the one inside my head. So it's where I basically spend 7 hours a day unconscious. And as a result, I don't really care what it looks like or that the tub has a jacuzzi or anything. Complimentary breakfast is nice, but not mandatory, especially in a town like Singapore. The $10 I save on the hotel room by not having a continental breakfast bar waiting for me will more than pay for a decent breakfast out in town. There is, however, a downside to this strategy. It doesn't always account for location, and sometimes you do get what you pay for. My bargain hotel is almost at the geographic center of the Geylang neighborhood, which I discovered after some research and after already booking the hotel, is in one of the historic red light districts in Singapore. So since it's not in an upscale neighborhood, it's going to be cheaper. Fine. Then I subsequently discovered that my hotel is part of a chain of somewhat infamous, locally anyway, love hotels. So I got a good deal because I might be the only guest who plans to stay here more than one night. They don't actually advertise this on their website, but if you walk in, they do have rooms starting at 2 hours. Yeah. So now that I think about it, I'm probably going to break out the black light later, just so I know exactly where I'm laying my head tonight. But disturbingly scratchy sheets, embarrassing itches, and the constant feeling I need another shower aside, I'm here for the food. As you have no doubt already guessed, Singapore is a real melting pot of cultures, not only from Southeast Asia, but from around the world, with so many different people all bringing their cuisines and techniques with them, and subsequent generations mixing and fusing these traditions together to create something uniquely Singaporean. Since my flight arrived at 4 o'clock this morning and check-in at my hotel wasn't until 3 p.m., it sounded like a good idea to get started on that food scene. And I can't think of a better way to kick off my visit to Singapore than at a 24-hour dim sum restaurant known as Wen Dao Shi.
Hey everybody, it's Mike. It's now 6:30 in the morning. Luckily, in the neighborhood, there's a 24-hour dim sum place, Dim Sum Wen Dao Shi, and I can think of no better way of starting my trip to Singapore than eating some dim sum. So let's give them a try. Here we go. Start off with some fresh cane juice with lemon. Sweet, refreshing. Considering that I got off the plane, it was 4:30 in the morning and it was 82 degrees. I've been eating this, but let's get started. First we have soup dumplings, Shanghai style Xiaolong Bao. Get a little dip in there. That nice soup in the middle, and a little bit of this black garlic, or black soy, or black vinegar. There you go. Let it boiling hot. I want you to see this. Look at all that soup. Got way more soup in this than I ever did trying to make my own at home. I don't know what the difference is. There's a sort of rusticness to that flavor that I really enjoy. Classic. Argyle crystal shrimp dumplings. That bright seafoody sweetness of the shrimp with this sticky rice wrapper. And I do this every time. I drop the shrimp right out of the wrapper. Oh, get here. One regret is that I'm by myself. I can only eat so much. Those are fantastic. I have a shrimp and scallop shumai. This is a little different. Usually the shumai is pork. Sometimes it has shrimp, sometimes doesn't, but typically pork. This is scallop. Different. Okay, the shrimp, scallop, and pork. The pork is necessary, but the scallop definitely does make a difference. Oh, that is delightful. Have a little soy on the plate to dip into. Cleanse the palate here. Deep fried carrot cake. Not actually carrot cake. Not actually cake. So it's actually turnip. It's mashed up into a paste, formed into cakes, and then fried, and it gets this really, really nice, crisp outer texture, and this sort of savory, creamy inside. That's one of my favorite things in the world. And another thing, which is somewhat of a acquired taste, chicken feet. They've been braised for a long time. Soy, some peppers, a really rich broth. And what you end up with is this sort of gelatinous, sort of collagen-y thing. You can suck off the bones. The flavor is fantastic. Yes, it's fiddly. It's not so much an acquired taste, because it is delicious, objectively. It's just, you know, it's got a little bit of a squick factor because it's feet, but it's still chicken. Oh, that is good. What do you think? Any other things I should try while I'm in this some restaurant? I don't know if I have the room, but I think I'll be back here for another go on another morning. So to Lynn, sign off here.